you are.
Yep.
You want to give thoughts on how practice has gone so far this week? And,
Yeah, we've had really good practices. Yesterday was really good. It was tough weather-wise, but it was still good. Today, thank goodness for the plant. They came out and they basically cleaned the field off at 11:15. So by 11:15, this was clear, but then it obviously snowed throughout the practice, and it became tougher and tougher. But at this stage, we're kind of working on just refining things, so it doesn't have to be top speed or anything of that sort. So I thought it was a good practice today. We definitely embraced the suck today.
Yeah, you guys had quite a bit of fun in the snow, throwing snowballs around. Looked like they having fun. How would you describe that energy for this week going to the Grand Valley?
I said this after the Tech game. For me, games like Tech and those kind of situations are much more I get much more anxiety in those circumstances than a game like this. This game, it's a big game, so I don't have to worry about our player psyche. I know they'll be ready, and so it's one of those things where I just say it's a player's game. There's times where there's coaches' games where you got to get your players in the right mentality and make sure they're prepared under all conditions. But when you get games like this, these are players' games. They look forward to it, and I know both programs look forward to an opportunity to play each other.
How much does it help having a roster full of guys that are big game tested and have experience in these player games?
Well, I think it's important. Obviously, we've got guys that have played, in these situations before. Obviously being in the playoffs, and I think playing in an extra season. I think we played four seasons and 3 seasons, if that makes sense, because we have that many playoff games over the course of the last 3 years. So that helps us too. So I think our guys relish in the opportunity to play in a big game, and they're excited about it.
Tony, it's funny. Back when you first arrived, you guys were sort of the underdogs and the team that would take on that underdog role.
Mm-hmm.
Tables have kind of turned. So how do you portray your team going into this one?
Well, I still think we're hungry. From a mentality standpoint, work is not done. I mean, I jokingly said last week after the Tech game, well, we got to share. That might be good enough for us. What do you guys think? You feel like sharing? And they about attacked me. So, there's a lot of a lot of motivation for us still. So I don't think having some success against them really impacts us much on how our approach will be. I think our approach will be the same. It's been the same for the course of the now this is the 8th year we've been here.
Is there an aspect of your team that is most underrated this season?
Well, our defense has been incredible, so I would say most people would think that. Our defense has just played really well. In the conference, I think we've given up an average of 58, 59 yards rushing a game, and so that's been extraordinarily good. And then we're the #1 team in the nation in defensive passing efficiency, so that means people aren't going back there and winging it against us and having easy pitches and catches. So those are I think our defense really has been a great weapon for us.
When you look at the competitiveness of the GLIAC over the last 2-3 years, 4 years, that there's no guarantee that 2 teams get into the playoffs from the conference, or even 3 teams. How much more, I won't say pressure, does that add to a game like this, but does it give it a little extra boost that you don't think it needed?
Well, I think there's more pressure on them in regards to getting in the playoffs, because we're a 0-loss team and they're a 1-loss team, and they're a great team. You got to go back to how they lost, and it was a Hail Mary, the last play of the game. So they're a great team. They've had a great year. They've done a really nice job of grinding through some tough wins, and so they're a great team. But we kind of feel like if we did unfortunately lose this game, we feel like we'll still be a playoff team. Now, it's important to, obviously, from a seeding perspective, to win the game. It's important. Our #1 goal is to win the GLIAC. We've won a share, but we'd like to win that outright. So those are the forces that I think we're focusing on. I don't think either school is worried about the Anchor Bone Trophy because there's too much more riding on it.
How about condition of Jay Rue? He didn't practice yesterday or today, and your quarterback situation going into this week.
I would guess he's doubtful. I wouldn't even say questionable. I would say doubtful. So it's just a matter of he's had some bad luck, man. He's had some bad luck with health, but it's pretty cool for us to win the GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row with two different quarterbacks. So Jay Rue won it 2 weeks ago. Travis won it last week. But, we'll see how he progresses. He's still trying to fight through some to get ready, but it hasn't been as fast of a rehab as we had hoped.
You guys have won the last 3 meetings. How important is this rivalry with GVSU?
Well, for me or for the community, it's two different things. For me, it's just, anytime I'm coaching in this situation, coaching a game, period, I want to win. For the community, for West Michigan, obviously it's critically important. We've won the last 3, but looking back, I mean, the last 2 have been like coin flips, and I guess we called heads twice and we won twice. It was one of those situations where we've been fortunate in the rivalry, but we're pleased obviously to be able to be competitive with them, them being a successful program as they are, and so we're always dialed in. We're always dialed in because it means a lot to the schools and to the West Michigan area. So, we're excited to play them.
Where do you feel your team is at in regard to just overall level of play? Do you feel like there's still some things that you guys need to improve on before you get to GVM playoffs?
Yeah, you're always worried about growing, and so we feel like there's some certain things that we're making progress on. I thought last week might have been our most complete game. So, we're running the ball well, we're throwing the ball well. We've minimized the number of silly mistakes we've made or silly turnovers we've made. Those are focal points for us. So those are things that I think we've gotten a lot better at, and we continue to grow. But this time of year, you're either growing or you're dying, truthfully. We either got to get better and be competitive against every opponent, or if you're not growing, you're just not going to compete.
A win on Saturday would probably secure a bye week for you guys in that first round. 2 weeks off of playing some football, you think that would be kind of like an advantage for you guys, getting guys healthy like Jay Rue, or a disadvantage, the guys not playing in a football game for 2 straight weeks?
Well, first off, I'm not sure that if we do win that we will get a bye. You never know. And secondly, I don't know how it would be if we did get a bye having 2 weeks off. So me predicting that would be like you predicting the weather today. I don't know. People ask me that, and I'm like, I don't know. Last year we didn't get a bye and we went 16 straight weeks. Was that good or bad? Well, it was probably good in that we continued to win. Was it bad? Yeah, I was tired. I'm sure the players are tired, but being self-centered, I was tired. And so 16 straight weeks and 3 weeks of practice before that was 19 straight weeks. That's tough. So, if you say you get a couple weeks off, I'll take it. I'll take it to the bank right now. I could use some time off. And truthfully, it's just not playing. We would practice basically the same schedule.
Because everybody wants time off to enjoy weather like this, right?
Well, I think if it was 2 weeks, I could arrange I'd probably arrange like a trip to Cabo or something. I'd probably have a lot of time to do that, and take, maybe my assistants can handle the team while I go south. But no, it's never really a day off, regardless of what the circumstances are, until the season ends, and then you take 2 days off and start recruiting.
Was your win of over 50 points against Tech just further evidence that regardless of weather, if it's like this or if it's 80 degrees, whatever, you guys can play? You're an all-weather team?
Well, we've had to play in November and December a lot, and so we come out here in the spring, and it's like this, and so we're used to it. I mean, I don't know what it is, but we're used to it, and so we don't make it a big deal for sure. We just come out here and do what we need to do, regardless of what the circumstances are.
I think you guys get a little bit of advantage because you play out in this stuff, you practice out in this stuff.
For us, it's just a mentality like anything else. People talk about, well, how do you win on the road like you do? It's a mentality. A couple weeks ago, Bronx said to me, well, what about this? Is this a trap game? And I said, it's only a trap game if psychologically you use the word trap game, because trap games don't exist unless you say it. And he looked at me and says, oh, maybe you're right. So we just really focus on the right mentality and make sure that we're prepared under all conditions. And so, whether or not it's an edge, I don't know. But, if I keep on saying it's an edge, maybe it's an edge. So that's all.